Hi everybody, Chris Petri here. Welcome back. We're on part two. We're doing a beautiful coastal scene here. We're excited. We took a break. Always great to take breaks. I'm a big fan of when we're painting our watercolors to give ourselves breaks in between glazings or working the painting in sections and taking a little break. It helps us to refresh, to keep our concentration levels up and aware. Sometimes when we tend to um, overwork or stay at the easel and the watercolor uh, board, and we're just keep pushing on. A lot of times we can get tired and fatigued, and then we sometimes don't do a great job of getting our painting exactly the way we want it. So let's take breaks. That's always my philosophy. Take plenty of breaks, maybe every 15, 20 minutes if you're doing a painting. So here we did this start here. Of course, this is part two. If you haven't seen part one, please go back. We'll kind of recap though what we did just in case you're seeing part two and you can't get back to part one right now. No problem. So here we have just a light sketch, pencil sketch of a nice coastal scene with some shacks along the water and a nice pier going out to another small shack here along the water, a nice boathouse perhaps, and then we have plenty of water here. Our horizon line is pretty high up on the page, so we're about 2/3 to 3/4 of the page is water, and then about a quarter of the page or a third of the page is sky and mountains in the distance. So here we have a nice design to the painting, a nice design layout, which is we're using distance and steps back into the painting to create the illusion of depth, and works beautifully. Many artists always use this. I'm sure you use this as well in your paintings to try to get some nice depth into your painting. Nice three dimensions, three dimensionality. And so we'll get back in. We'll start painting, and we're going to do our darker glazings now, and sort of get our final paint on the paper and our shapes. Here, just one little quick note. I'm not sure if you can see this or not. Maybe I'll zoom in here just a touch, but I had a slight issue with some blossoming of paint on the darker into my watercolor. So when I took a break, and this is again why I mentioned taking breaks, I took a break. I let it dry completely. So I took a break for about an hour now, had some dinner, and when I came back, the paper is the way it should be. When we come back, it's flat, back to its flat shape. When we did our first glazing, the water was buckling the paper, so that's how you know it's ready to go back in, is when it's flattened back out again. And that spot on the paper, I just turned it into a small house in the distance here with a little bit of white, titanium white paint in a tube with a little bit of yellow ochre mixed in there, a little bit of yellow color mixed into the white paint. And I put a couple little indications of a roof line here and some maybe some railings and things around this house along the shoreline in the distance. And it could be a building. It's pretty large, but in any case, it's just an indication of something across the way there. Instead of trying to get upset and worried about that blotch of paint that kind of blossomed into our water, we just turned that into a little extra feature in our painting. And it might not be perfect to scale, as far as it maybe should be a little smaller, but since the spot was pretty large, I just made it I put the size of the building here across the way a little larger, so it could be like a larger type house, maybe like a factory along the water, or a large warehouse of sorts. So in any case, let's get back in. We're going to use our palette. We're using a different palette today. We're just changing things up, practicing on some different things. So this is a semi moist paint set, and this one's really fun. It's easy. You just spritz some water on there, just like that, and it's ready to go. It moistens right up. And now we're doing our darker tonal values here, and I do have a reference photograph. The only thing is it's a copyrighted photograph, and I try to be careful with my what I'm showing on my videos because sometimes other artists have their work copyrighted and they don't want people just showing it indiscriminately on the videos and in pictures and so forth. So I'm just trying to be respectful of that, and we'll go in here and we'll start into our some darks here. So let's go in with some. Okay, we'll do some roofs here, and this is going to be fun, kind of loose here. I'm going at a good pace. I'm going um, at a decent pace here, and I'm mixing some browns and oranges and burnt umber. That's the brown there, and maybe a little bit of black to mix in here. And we're going to do some roofs over here. And that looks pretty good, leaving some of that broken edges along there. And we'll change it up. Maybe we'll make a nice brownish color roof, brownish red, like a light red. And I'll leave some highlights over here on the eave of the roof. And sometimes you can scratch out a little highlight. I have to wait for the paint to dry just a little bit. And maybe we'll do a little shadowing under there, underneath that roof. And I'm putting in some windows and doors, and I'm going to move through this kind of quick, just to kind of, get the feel for the pace of the painting here. So, I'm going at a good pace here through the painting, and I'm putting in the windows now. They're darker. The light's coming from this direction, so I'm going to leave these walls white paper. And we'll just keep going here with our darker tonal values and details here. We can introduce more interesting colors if we want on these houses along the coast here. I'm probably going to change things up a little bit. We'll make this a green type roof here, some green shingles. And then just a few. I try to break up those lines on the roofs on the side over here, instead of just making it one straight line. I maybe stop and leave a little space. Looks kind of good. And we'll keep going here. Okay, we're making good progress here. We have we'll take some more paint. I'm using some mixtures of what I had before, and so this is a little bit of a greenish color here, like a olive green. And again, when you're mixing colors, have fun with it. These sets are really fun because you can mix a lot of colors and get a lot of like grays and mixtures of colors, and that looks really nice in a painting. And so then we'll do some lines here on the bottom, some boards or some. These could be the pilings for the bottoms of the houses here. And so we're coming along pretty good. We have some interesting darks in here now. So the painting's kind of coming together, looking good. And I'm trying to mix a good good brown here. Let's get some green in there. Okay, then we're going to we'll do some trees here. Again, trees are great just to do them quick. Hit and miss, not all perfect. And I'm doing the branches, here in the trunk. And again, I'll change it up, the color. Instead of using all the same color, maybe I'll add a little variation here. I'll do a little splashing. And we're going to have quite a bit of detail with some of the telephone poles along here. Odd numbers always look good, so I'm going to put a third trunk and a tree over this way. Probably better to have stuff angling into the painting, so that leads the eye into the painting. That's always a good thing to remember. And we'll take some of this so now I'm mixing some blue, some green, some brown, and just some quick indications of leaves on the trees here. Again, the paint's a little thicker, so as you can see, the paint's pretty thick. Not too much water, and then you just kind of scrape the brush around a little bit. And you don't have to do a whole lot, just a couple spots here and there, and it tells the story of a couple trees here, nice happy trees along the side of the painting. And we can add some yellow to that, maybe make more of a lighter yellow with some of the yellow. So I put in some of the yellow here, and then some of that green we were just using, and then even some more yellow yet, like that. And then we'll use that to splash a little bit. And then back into that darker color. Use our finger to do a little finger painting here maybe. Sometimes that looks great, just a little touch here and there, and that looks good. So the left side of our painting has those, or the right side has our trees and bushes. And then on the left side we have these houses. So that's a nice balance. Again, we always talk about when we design our paintings, we do a nice, balance effect. We wouldn't want all the houses on this side and nothing over here, because then the painting would look like it's tipping over this way. So balance is important. Always remember your balance in your painting, to try to keep things somewhat balanced if you can. Looks more pleasing in general. Okay, so now we have our darks in. We're doing a nice job here, and we're going to start to maybe just do some final details. And of course you can get into this more as you go. I might not finish this, but again, we're doing some of our telephone poles here, and then again we change up and add some variety to that. And the same over here, and we do them quick, just nice. I could do a couple little, as they're close by, you see the lines a little bit, and then further away you don't have to worry about the lines further away. And then as you can see, we'll just do some of our pier lights, and you can get more. I wouldn't go too much further than this. I would say this is pretty close to finished, and then you can do a few more maybe a couple more windows. But as you can see, this is coming on. A few more details to the shacks along the water here would look nice. But so this is basically it. It's a two-part glazing technique, and we're good to go, and it looks great. Happy painting, everyone. We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye now.